But Ravan, he looks very beautiful. He looks very beautiful. Description in Valmiki, description in Vishnu Puran, they all describe him as a great, grandeur person. And whenever Hanuman, Sugriva, they all looked at him, and the first time they looked at him, they were thinking that this cannot be Ravan. Because the body was so beautifully designed, they thought that this man must be full of qualities. He cannot be a demon. I think we have mistaken. They always thought like that. He was so beautiful. He had this hole in his chest, which is from the tusk of the Airavata. And he had other holes in the body by Sampati, but he covered them with a silk cloth. He got beautiful hairstyle. And of course his speech was so excellent that he could speak and make day look like night. It was so wonderful. These are all the glories of Ravan. And his queens, they were Nagas, and there were people, even Satyaloka he had princesses. From Satyalok, from Saranlok, from Siddhalok, Gandharvas. Everywhere, every species of life was present in his palace as queens. And they all liked him. They all respected him. Actually in India they are talking so much about Ram Rajya, which they could never get. At least if they can establish a Ravan Rajya, we will be happy. Ravan's country was so good. There were plenty of food, plenty of fruits, and dharma was followed. Their dharma, the demons' dharma was followed. They have some kind of a dharma. It's a little crazy for us, but they had their religion. And that religion was followed very strictly. And Ravan was ruling wonderfully. And there nobody had fear in Sri Lanka. Prabhupada said that good ruling means the citizens should have no fear to exist. And in Ravana's country, nobody had any fear. Because they had no fear even from Indra or Chandra or Agni. Because Ravan was so respected. He went from room to room and he was looking. Is Sita here? Is Sita there? Is Sita there? In every room he found, it was like a Dol Purnima festival, about 10 punk beds and so many queens sleeping. And he was looking here and looking there, looking here, looking there. And Hanuman was a Naistik brahmachari. And he was thinking, oh God, I have to do this. Because all these queens of Ravana, they are all sleeping there, and most of them are drunk. And he had to see them while they are sleeping. Brahmachari, is not good for him to see a woman while she is sleeping. And Hanuman had to do it. And he was thinking first, should I do this? Then he was thinking that I am serving Ram, and if I don't see all of them, Sita may be somewhere in between, I will miss. So he made up his mind, I'm not going to be attracted. And for how I won't be attracted, I won't stop chanting Ram's name. And he was chanting Ram, 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 and he was looking everywhere. And he saw so many queens, and their makeup, and their dress, and their bed, and their silk. Hanuman was completely shocked. What kind of place is this? It's like a heavenly planet. They had false eyelashes, they have shaven their eyebrows, and they have colored from the eyelash up to the eyebrow 12 colors. I am not telling it out of scripture, it is in the scripture. Hanuman actually saw it. And in Valmiki Ramayana, the Sanskrit verse which says the false eyelashes they were having, he got scared by looking at them. And he said, is this beauty? Why they are putting these eyelashes on? And then he also saw the paintings there. 12 colors. I don't know how many colors they use now. But 12 colors they were using. So these things are not new also. These are all old. And they are wonderful makeup systems. And they are Dunlop pillows, and it lets you the way you must sleep. And all that. It's all there in the Puranas. Wonderful sleeping situation they had. Air condition was there in a different way. It was natural air condition. By the windows arranged in such a way, only the cool air will come, hot air will not come. In this way it was conditioned. So Hanuman saw all this and he was very happy. He said that this man, whatever he has done, he is enjoying his senses very nicely. At least he is clever in that. And then he came and he saw in this middle of the room a wonderful bed which was made of coral and diamonds. And on top of it was white silk covering the bed. There was this brown figure lying down there with big shoulders and wonderful bodily beauty. And he was snoring. So Hanuman said, so beautiful, but why he is snoring? And his mouth is wide open. So he must be a very ignorant person. though he has so much knowledge, still there is ignorance. Then he looked around and he saw that there was the white umbrella on the side of the bed. That means he is the king. So Hanuman looked at him and he went back a little bit and he looked at him, long shot, then close shot, everything he looked. And he said that, oh, what a great fighter. And then he even looked at that hole and he said, I have heard about this hole. This man would have fought with Airavata. And then Hanuman was feeling fired up. He said that, I would like to fight with him. And then he said, but if I wake him up, then everything will be spoiled. So then he looked around on the other side. Then he saw a very beautiful woman lying down on the bed. Also there was wine smell coming from her mouth. He went in there and he was looking. He said, oh, heavenly body. This person must be Sita. So Hanuman has never seen Sita. He was looking. Then he said, no, how can it be Sita? Sita is a chaste wife of Ramachandra. And here she is brought by the demon and she is dressing herself nicely with silk ornaments, and she is lying down there and with wine. No. I am a monkey. I cannot have any discrimination. How can this be Sita? Sita must be lean and skinny and crying and tears coming and demoness around her. That is Sita, not this. No, it's not Sita. So then he looked everywhere, then he couldn't find Sita. So he came out of the palace and he was thinking, what should I do? Once I have preached to Angada, don't give up your body and don't go for some security. But now looks like I have to do that. I have to jump in the ocean and die. How can I go back and tell them, yes, I crossed the ocean, I saw Ravan, I had his darshan, and no Sita. What they will do to me? Even Angada himself may kill me. Or if I go to Sugriva, he will kill me. And if I look at Ramachandra's dissatisfied face, I will die myself. So what is the use of my existence? So let me die. And then he was crossing the gardens, and he was coming to the ocean. Then he said, let me check once more. He looked at the garden. It was Ashoka Vana, Ashoka trees, very thick garden. He said, Sita must be in this forest. Why? Because Ravan would have kept her in a nice garden, but she would be thinking of this Ashoka trees. Because in Panchavati, where Ravana lifted Sita from, there were Ashoka trees. And I remember Ramachandra telling me that he was going to the Ashoka trees and crying, oh Ashoka trees, please tell me, where is my wife? So she must be remembering that when she sees this Ashoka trees, she must have walked inside here. At least she would have walked in here. Let me ask the Ashoka trees, they may tell me. In this way Hanuman, with some little glimpse of hope, he came into the Ashoka forest. And there was a very tall tree. He climbed up on it. And he was sitting there and he looked down. To his surprise, under the same tree was Mother Sita. She was sitting there with Vibhishana's daughter, Trijata. And Trijata was consoling her. I had dreams that Ravan, he was smearing oil all over his body and he was drinking oil with his two hands. And he was sitting in a chariot which was driven by monkeys. And the chariot was driven through the southern side. This means he will die. And I also saw that Sri Lanka was burning. And I saw a monkey flying on it. And I also saw that Ramachandra was sitting on the coronation ceremony with you. So don't lose faith and don't give up your body. One day or other Ramachandra will come here. And Hanuman was listening to all this. He was so happy. Then Ravana came and he gave so much preaching to Mother Sita, you must marry me. And then she refused. Then he said to the demonesses, you kill her if she won't listen to your advice. And the demonesses, they started preaching to her. Finally they decided, we will kill her. Exactly at that time, Hanuman jumped. As soon as they saw this monkey jumping, they all fled, this way and that way. So then Sita looked at him and he said, Ravana, you can take any form, but I am not going to be attracted. Why did you think if you take a monkey form I will be attracted? So Hanuman said, wait, I am not Ravan. I am the servant of Ram. I am your das. I have come here to serve you. So she said, I don't believe it. If you are from Ram, how did you cross the ocean? Hanuman said, oh, that is very interesting. I grew big. He said, you grew big? How can monkeys grow big? He said, you can see it now. And then he grew and he said, touch the sky. And then Sita got so scared. She said, this may be another demon. And while he was growing, he was chanting, Ram, 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 Ram. And she was thinking, Ravan will not chant so many Ram Nam. It's not possible. It cannot be a demon. So then Hanuman reduced his form. Then he said, here I have the Sakshi. I have the evidence from Ramachandra. This is his ring. And then Mother Sita talked with him and gave him the hair ornament, Chudamani. Hanuman took it. And after taking it, he said, I want to do a little bit badmash in this forest. Some naughtiness must be there because I am monkey. I cannot come as a saintly person and go. I have to do some nonsense here. So I will do it. You won't be affected, don't worry. And you just watch the fun. So he kept the Chudamani somewhere very safe, and then he started pulling the Ashoka trees and throwing them here and there. There was a waterfall, he broke it. There was a rock, water falling in that, he broke that, and the water flooded all over. Then he took all the creepers and he was swinging them this way and that way. And he took the demonesses, put them in his mouth, and he was biting them and spitting them out. And then he was shouting and he was patting his laps and he was patting his shoulders. And then he was telling that, I am the servant of Ram, ha ha ha, who is there to stop me? I will destroy Sri Lanka. Then he said, I will swallow Ravan. Who is as powerful as me? Anybody is there, you can come for fight. Challenge, challenge. And then he jumped up on the big entrance of Ashokavana and he sat on the Viman. And then he was eating all the fruits, spitting everywhere. And then the minister of Ravan, who was in charge of the Ashoka forest, he came in front of him. And a long time, Hanuman has jumped over the ocean, he has checked everyone, he has seen Sita, talked to, but he has not passed water. Very difficult. It's been already 6-7 hours. How can he do it? So when the minister came and he opened his big mouth and he said, what are you doing? And then he got his blessing. So then the minister said, hey, stop. Hanuman said, I am a monkey, what do you expect? Not only, see, you are thinking this is very bad, but one Prime Minister in India, he drinks urine every day. It is a kind of a treatment. They say that if you drink your own urine, then you will become as strong as steel. Anyway, steel in India is not very strong. So the Prime Minister, though he drank so much urine, he got no strength. This is known as Shivambu Chikitsa. And if you take your urine, you will become very strong. But they don't understand that for that their ahar, their food has to be very pure. But if they eat omelets and burgers and then they drink their urine, then they will get disease. So this, in the age of Kali, these things are not practical. Just saying you because you may go all around India and somebody may advise you this treatment. Don't take this treatment. This treatment is not meant for this age. Otherwise you may get some blood cancer. And then you will die soon. When you die soon, next life you may expect some still body. But not in this life. Anyway, the minister had his blessing and he felt very bad. So then he was going inside the forest and he was asking the demonesses, what are you doing? A monkey is doing so much harm. So they said, what are you doing? A monkey is doing so much harm. And you are telling us. So then he said, yeah, it's true. What am I doing? So he went to Ravana. And he said, a monkey has given me his urine in my mouth. So Ravana said, wonderful, you came to report this. And he gave him a slap. So what kind of a caretaker are you? You come here and report to me a monkey passed water in your mouth. So then he said, what am I supposed to do? I was speaking with him. And then he said, you don't know when you go to the animals, you don't open your mouth? That something wrong may happen? He said, well, you have to do something. He's destroyed the whole Ashoka forest. He said, what? One single monkey? Then Vibhishan closed his eyes. He said, monkey. And he was thinking, monkey smashing Ashoka forest. I remember this, that he left the palace. He went to his house and he was sitting and thinking, monkey, Ashoka forest, monkey, Ashoka forest. I heard it somewhere. He was trying to figure it out. It took 2 days to understand it. He understood it. So, Ravana, he said, alright, you call Prahasta's son, Jambumali. Jambumali is the first card. And when you play cards, you play, 9 jacks like that. It's the first card you put down. Jambumali. This Jambumali is in a big lake of wine. He is laying down there. And he's sleeping. And whenever he wakes up, he drinks a little bit. And then again he sleeps. And again he drinks a little bit. Because he can't wait till go fill up the cup and drink. It's too much time. So he is in a wine lake. And they keep filling up the wine lake. And he is kept like that. So that whenever war comes, he can be used. So Jambumali was woken up. They have some anti-liquor medicine. So they put it through his mouth and he got up. Then he said, why you are calling me? You want to change the lake? You want to put me in another lake? He said, no, fight. I'm going. So he came to Ravana. He said, with whom I should fight? With Indra? With Agni? He said, no, a monkey. I'm going back. No, it's not an ordinary monkey. He's great monkey. And he is finish our Ashokavan. We must finish him, kill him. Alright, here, take 80,000 soldiers and go. So 80,000 soldiers, demon soldiers. And Jambumali, he walked up. Very young demon, Jambumali. He came there and he looked at Hanuman. Hanuman was still sitting on top of the ark. And he said, I am the servant of Ram. Who is that to fight with me? I can swallow Ravan. Come on, challenge. So Jambumali said, hey monkey, you are talking too much. You understand that Ravana, his son has tied Indra in the post, in the flag post here. Do you know that the 9 pranas, they are serving in the kitchen, cutting sabji? What do you know? You don't know about the power of Ravana. You don't know the power of my father Prahasta. He has eaten mountains and he has digested them. So then Hanuman said, all fast. What about now? This has happened, that has happened, this has... And now you look, I can also tell you, the whole Ashokavan has been destroyed. That has happened. And now something else is going to happen. Don't waste time. So then Jambumali said, what? You think you can fight with me? He said, why you are talking? So Hanuman started picking up rocks and throwing at him. And the rocks were coming like this and he couldn't. Then he got on the chariot and he started shooting arrows. So then Hanuman said, oh, these demons are very cultured. He's sitting on the chariot, chanting mantras, doing achaman and giving astra. So all these astras were coming, Hanuman was holding them and breaking them and giving them back. Because no astra can affect Hanuman, that is the benediction. Then Jambumali saw all this and he said, oh no, I have to do magic. So he started growing. And he became so big. And Hanuman was only up to his ankles. That is what Jambumali was thinking. And he was thinking, oh, that big? Alright. He closed his eyes and he was growing. And he was thinking, now I have grown so much, Hanuman will be this big. Then he opened his eyes. And he saw some big round thing in front of him. He looked at it. What is this? It's not Hanuman's face. There's no mouth. There is no teeth. It's a big round thing. And he looked this way. There was another round thing. What is this one? And he's looking. Then he was so confused, he heard a sound from way above that. They are my knees, Jambumali. He looked up, and Hanuman was up there. Before, when he closed his eyes, Hanuman already grew so big. And Jambumali thought, my God, what a growth. This is the topmost I can do, and I am only up to his knees. So then, Jambumali looked back because he didn't want to discourage the 80,000 soldiers. When he was looking back, Hanuman said, what are you looking at? I finished them all. He finished 80,000 soldiers already. Because there was a whole hall, beautiful parliamentary hall, called Chaitya of Ravan. And this hall had very huge marble and diamond pillars. And one of the pillars Ravana took and he just kept it on those 80,000. They were nicely organized because he was an army. So it was easy for him. Just kept it on top of them and he did a little bit. And they were finished. While Jambumali was still growing, all this has happened. Now Jambumali is alone. And his chariot, of course, it's already been smashed. And horses have been killed. And then Jambumali is only standing. Hanuman said, now what do you want to do? And he said, if you want to take shelter of my feet, they are way down there. You can look for us. And Jambumali was so insulted, he said, no, this is Maya. You come in front of me in your original form. So he said, oh, this is Maya. What was you doing? That is also Maya. You come in your original form. So he came down. Then Hanuman also did it. Then he said, Alright Jambumali, there are 3 minutes for you. There is one nice mantra I will teach you. Because while dying, if you chant this mantra, then you will attain the Supreme Lord. It's only 2 syllables in it. It's Ra-Ma. Chant. Jambumali said, what? I didn't come here to learn mantras. I am here to fight with you. I want to finish you. That you cannot do. At least do this. You cannot finish me. So why don't you do something that you can do? Just chant Ram and then go back home. Jambumali said, he jumped on Hanuman. So Hanuman put his index finger in his navel and he lifted him up. And then he circled him and he threw him. And then all his liver and everything came out of his mouth. Then he died. Jambumali was finished. So when the news came that Jambumali was finished, immediately Ravana's son got up, Indrajit. He said, what? This must be a demigod. And he must be fought nicely. So Indrajit came. And with Indrajit there were some scenes. And then Indrajit said, I am going to use Brahmastra on you. Brahma Chapa or the Brahma rope. So he sent the Brahma rope. The Brahma rope was coming and Hanuman thought that I have done enough harm now, so I must see Ravan. And if I get bound by this rope, I can see Ravan. So he looked at that and he said, I will respect Brahma. He hold it. Then the rope came, tied him, and he fell off. So Indrajit was holding the rope and he was pulling him. And pulling. He brought him to the court, and there was Ravan. And as they entered there, Ravana said, hey, you mischievous monkey, who are you? Then he said, I am a servant of Ram and I am a messenger. You please give me a seat. So Ravan said, seat for a monkey? You can climb up on the tree if you want. So he said, no, it's not fair. I am talking politics. I have come here to give you a message. So you must give me a seat. So Ravana said, in my assembly, I don't give seat for animals. He said, to get a seat in your assembly, I have to be less than an animal. That's what you mean. And Ravan said, hey, you're talking too much. By the time Hanuman extended his tail and he made a big seat, it was above Ravana's head. And he jumped up and sat on that. He said, so Ravana, how are you? I think this is a nice seat for me. Then Ravan was looking up. He couldn't do anything else. His own tail, what can he do? So then they had a discussion. And Hanuman gave him a very good piece of advice. You please give up Sita. I saw your palace. You have so many beautiful queens. So why you want to take Sita? I can tell you, Sita is not that beautiful. Hanuman was using Samadhana Bedadanda. He said that Sita is not that beautiful. Mandodari is much more beautiful than Sita. You must be having satisfaction with that. Give up this one Sita. You can get so many others. I will myself procure women for you if you want. Let's give up this Sita for your own benefit. Ravan said, no, I won't listen to this. I'm not giving back Sita. And not only that, I'm going to finish you. So Hanuman said, finish me? How can you finish me? And Ravana said, you are tied up. He said, I am not tied up. I'm just holding myself. And then he just lifted his hands and the Brahmasapa broke. And Indrajit opened his mouth. What is this? The Brahma's rope, this monkey has broken. So then Hanuman said, if you want, you can use some ordinary rope and tie me. Only if I want to be tied, you can tie me. Now I allow you, you tie me. Let me see what punishment you will give me. So then they put some ropes, and with great demons pushing him on both sides with tridents. And he didn't do any objection. They brought him. And then Ravana said, put fire to his tail. They put fire to his tail. He said, wonderful, you gave me the idea. I was just thinking what to do. I wanted to do so many things, but I didn't want to do myself because Ramachandra may say, why did you do it? Now I have no problem. They put fire and I was jumping from here and there and fire caught everywhere. What can I do? I didn't do any harm. I didn't want to burn Lanka. Why should I do? I'm a messenger. A messenger cannot attack the opponent. But what can I do? They put fire in my tail, and I am a monkey. When I jump, the tail goes this way and that way and this way and that way. And I was jumping in all the roads to make sure that everything catches fire. So in this way, Hanuman jumped from roof to roof, roof to roof, window to window, and everywhere he put fire. Even in Ashoka one he put fire. And then after putting everything is just burning. It's like Diwali in some Jaipur, in some North Indian city. Everything is just burning there. And Hanuman was jumping up and down, and he was saying, wonderful, wonderful. Then suddenly he thought, maybe Mother Sita is also burnt. So what did I do? He said, So then he went into the Ashoka forest and he was looking. And he saw Mother Sita was sitting under the tree. No harm there. So then he told her that, now why you wait for all this? You sit on my shoulder. You know I crossed the ocean, so I can cross the ocean back. That is the evidence for that. You sit on me and I will take you. Before I fly up from here, I will kill Ravan. So Sita said, no, what are you doing? You only told me Lord Ramachandra has promised that he will kill Ravan and take me back. And now if you do this, then my Lord's promise will go in vain. And Ramachandra, he has one word, one wife and one arrow. Uses only one arrow, and if he says a word, he keeps it, and it's only one wife. So don't do this. You are not supposed to do. Even otherwise, I won't sit on your shoulder. On the way you see some fruit, you may shake and I may fall off in the ocean. I don't believe you for so much. So you enjoy yourself, go back and tell my Lord that I am waiting. And in such and such day, if he doesn't come, then I will leave my body. So Hanuman flew back. And then while coming back, when they reached Kiskinda, there was a beautiful forest called Madhuvan. This Madhuvan was a private garden of Sugriva. There were so many honey houses there, and honey was flowing on the floor, and so many fruits, and it was well guarded. There was one great monkey called Dadimukha. And Dadimukha was sitting in front of it, and this garden had 4 doors, and it was nicely guarded. Only Sugriva was allowed to go inside. So as the monkeys were coming back, all the monkeys, they went to Hanuman, they said, we have done a great work, so we must have some enjoyment. Let us go inside Madhuvan and drink honey. So then Hanuman said, what? Go inside Madhuvan? Then Sugriva will get angry. Even though we have done a good job, we are not allowed to go inside that. Then Jambavan said, you don't think properly. That Madhuvan is a wonderful place. There is so much honey there. We have worked so hard. All these monkeys are so good. They were so patient. They must be rewarded. If you are not going, I am going. Then Jambavan entered the Madhuvan. And then all the monkeys entered the Madhuvan. There was a little fight. Anyway, they got conquered. And they were all drinking honey like anything and eating fruits. And Dadimukha, he went to Sugriva. And he said, what is this? Even your defense minister Hanuman, he is totally useless. Even your great uncle Jambavan is also useless. They are all coming inside the royal forest, the garden, and are drinking all the honey. So Sugriva looked at Ramachandra and he said, oh Lord, your work has been accomplished. So Ramachandra said, how do you say that? He said, how they can dare enter Madhuvan, my garden, and drink honey? This means they have done some wonderful task. Maybe Sita is with them. Otherwise they won't dare to do it. So he told Dadimukha, give them more honey. Give them more fruit. Open the gates of Madhuvan. It is free for everyone. So then Hanuman came flying and he was telling, found Sita, found Sita, found Sita. Because he was thinking, if I say Sita, I have found. When he said Sita, then Ramachandra will say, maybe he did not find Sita. So he did not want to confuse. So he used this intelligence. First word was found, found, found. It was Hanuman's throat. So when Ramchandra heard it, he said to Sugriva, see, what he said was true. Hanuman is in the sky and he is telling he has found. What he would have found? He would have found Sita because he was looking for Sita. So then Hanuman came and the whole conversation was there and Ramachandra decided, attack. So they built this wonderful bridge, crossed over the bridge. I am making it summarized here. They didn't cross over the bridge so quickly. Neither they built it so quickly. It was very difficult. Anyway, it happened, Ramachandra's mercy. When they arrived in there in the shore, as soon as they arrived in there, he was looking this way and that way, Sugriva, and Vibhishan told, that is Ravana's palace, that 10-floor building. So then they thought, wow, what a beautiful building. And then Ramachandra looked this side and there was no Sugriva. He said, Sugriva, where is Sugriva? So Vibhishan said, some demon is playing tricks. We must find out. Guard all the place. Everyone be ready. Everyone took their weapons and everything, but Sugriva is not there. Sugriva flew. He went to the 10th floor of the building. He couldn't tolerate that Ravana is living there with Sita under his custody. And Ramachandra is here. Sugriva got so angry. He went there and Ravana was as usual looking on the mirror. So Sugriva became small and he went around his face and spat on his face. And Ravana, he was doing all his makeup. There were 15 assistants spraying and doing all this and fixing his face. And then he felt something wet here and he said, what is this? So somebody said, no, it's one of those. No, it's something else. What is that? What is this? What is that? And he's spitting everywhere. Then he said, stop all this, stop all this. So they stopped everything and still it was coming. And he said, again they said, some bee here, some mosquito. And he looked around and he said, so he cut hold of it and took it in his hand. Well, how dare you do this? What are you doing? You must be spitting on my face. And he looked at it was a monkey. You see, another monkey. I'm so small. And the monkey was speaking also. Ravana, I spat on your face. Now I am happy. And then before he could catch him, he flew away. And he landed in front of Ramachandra. Ramachandra said, Sugriva, where had you been? I went there, I spat on the rascal's face. What did you do? It's a great mistake I did. I got hold of these monkeys. I am son of Dasarath. I have landed in another man's country. I must send him a messenger. And he already going there spitting on his face. So Sugriva said, I am sorry, my lord, but you must understand, I am a monkey after all. When I get angry, I can't control it. All your Yuddha Dharma you can keep in your pocket. Nobody will blame you because they will say, Sugriva was a monkey, what to do? Like we are still telling. Sugriva was a monkey, so what to do? It was not Ramachandra's defect. So then Ramachandra said, I want to send a messenger. So Sugriva said, only person who has got so much sense control, apart from Hanuman has already gone, is Angada. So Ramachandra called him and embraced him. He said, my dear Angada, I am going to send you to Ravan. He's a very dangerous person. You must be very careful. And you go to him and tell him that Ramachandra is not having any intention to fight with him. All my desire is, he must simply give me back Sita, and I will go back. And I will make his friends with him. I will be his greatest friend. If anybody attacks Lanka, I will protect him. You please tell him this. Only Sita, nothing else I want from him. I don't want to fight. I don't want to kill these monkeys and kill some demons. And I don't want to kill Ravan. So Angada said, all right, I will take your message. And he circumambulated Ram and Lakshman, touched Ramachandra's feet, and he came to Hanuman, touched his feet. He said, you must bless me because you are the first one to go. So Hanuman said, go there. And he called him close by and in his ear he said, you must insult them. And then Angada flew up. Angada came straight into the darbar of Ravana, flying in, and he landed in front of him. And then he said, Ravan, my name is Angada. I am the son of Bali. You may remember Bali. This Bali, he did one wonderful pastime with Ravana. When Ravana heard that anyone who goes in front of Bali, he will lose half of his strength. So he was thinking, this means he will become more powerful than me in this world. So I must first control Bali. So he went there. And Bali had a vrata or a vow that every day in 4 holy places he will worship Salagram. He will worship in Rameswaram, he will worship in Badrinath, he will worship in Jagannath Puri, and he will worship in Dwaraka. All that he will do in one day. And each place he will visit by one leap. From Kishkinda he will jump, he will be in Rameswar. He will do the worship, before it is too late, then he will jump back to Kishkinda. And from Kishkinda again he will jump to Dwaraka. Then he will jump back. No Padayatra, he was just leaping. And then he was going this way, and then he was coming back. Then to Badrinath and coming back. While he was doing it, he will make sure that that he will keep his foot on top of Sugriva's head and press it a little bit. That also he was doing. Sugriva is hiding there in one side, in that one area, because that area Bali cannot go. He was cursed that if he enters that place, his head will be broken into 10,000 pieces. So Sugriva took shelter of that place. But even then Bali, while jumping to Dwaraka, he will make sure he will give him one kick on his head. And then he will go to Dwaraka. When coming back again, one kick. In a day, 8 kicks Sugriva was getting. And then once Hanuman could not tolerate it. So once when Bali was kicking like that, Hanuman caught Bali on his waist like this. And he was holding him like that. And he was trying to pull him down so that if he will touch the floor, his head will break into 10,000 pieces. And Bali, he knows, if he touches the floor, he will be dead. So he is trying to pull Hanuman up. So he is pulling down, he is pulling up, and they were in one spot. Because they had equal strength, 10,000 elephant strength. So he is not going down, he is not going up. And then they are just like this, and Bali said, come on, leave me, leave me, leave me. So he said, I will leave you on one promise. You don't do this kicking anymore. Otherwise, I can pull you down. So Bali said, all right, now we make a truce. I'm not against you, you're not against me. I'm against Sugriva. So I won't come here and kick him, and you leave me alone. So he left it. And after being harassed by Hanuman, he came back to Dwaraka and quickly was doing his worship, and Ravan was in the back. Ravan did not come in front because he knew he will lose half of his strength. So from the back he was thinking, slowly, slowly I will catch hold of the tail. And then I can do something. So when he came close to the tail, he caught the tail. And he was thinking, oh, that was very easy. But then he was trying to pull the tail. Instead of him pulling the tail pulled him. And then the tail extended and went around his body. And then he kept him in his tail. And then he leaped from that to Kishkinda, leaped from that to Badrinath, leaped from there back, leaped to Puri, leaped back, and Ravan was hanging in the tail. And even the Gandharvas were laughing, the women, the Charanas, they were laughing, and Ravan was closing his eyes and he said, Bali, please leave me, don't tie me in your tail, hold me in your hand, it is more prestige. What is this, being tied in the monkey's tail? This is no good. Then finally when he came back to Kishkinda, he brought the tail in front of him and he said, hey, you be careful. You don't come in this area anymore. So Ravan said, I am surrendered to you, I am your servant. And don't attack Sri Lanka. And I won't come here. He made a pact. So Angada reminded him, Ravana, you remember Bali? At least you will remember the tail. So I am his son. He said, I am the smallest in the army that Ramachandra has brought. I am the smallest. And he said, that is why Ramachandra picked up me to come and see you. I am the very small person. I am prince. There are bigger monkeys there, very strong monkeys. So I am requesting you one thing. Ramachandra said that if you give back Sita, he will go back. And he does not want anything. So then Ravana said, what are these monkeys coming here as ministers and talking with me? You better, you will your tail and put it behind your leg and jump up from here before I kill you. So Angada said, oh, you are going to kill me. All right, you can kill me later, but just... And he lifted his leg and kept it in front of Ravan like that. And he said, you please move my foot. Then we can think of killing and murdering and all that. So Ravana said, come on, Indrajit. So Indrajit got up and went in that. And with his one hand, he was gone. And he slapped. And after slapping, he saw his palm swell up. Because it was like a rooted banyan tree. Then he sat down and he used two hands. He put his stretching and trying to stretch it. And he felt like it was Mount Meru or what. And Indrajit was sweating and sweating and sweating. And he fell off. And Vibhishan got up and he said, Ravana, your time is coming. Look at this. A monkey's foot cannot be shaken. Don't you understand that something is happening? That you were keeping the planets in your kitchen and now a monkey's foot cannot be shaken. Something is wrong somewhere. Think about it. So Ravan said, you are so weak-minded. I will do it. And he got up. So then Angada said, you want to touch my foot? He said, I have lifted Kailash. And then he came in there and he exhibited his 10 heads and 20 hands and he was all upset and he was holding his leg and he was moving it. He couldn't move it. So then Angada said, try my toe. You may be able to do that. So then he bent down and he was completely helpless because the challenge. He was holding his toe and he was trying to move it. He couldn't move it. So then Ravan sat down like this and he said, where do you get your strength from? So then Angada said, aha, same old question. We have heard it many times. he said, Ravana, from where you are getting your strength from? From where anyone is getting their strength from? The source of strength is Ram. And simply by chanting Ram, I am holding my breath. That is why you are not able to move my toe. And I am the smallest monkey in the army. And there are bigger monkeys than me. And over and above all these monkeys is your brother Vibhishan helping. And then above that is Lakshmana. And above him is the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. Use your intelligence. Give back Sita. So Ravana said, no. I'm not giving back Sita. He said, this is all Maya. I don't believe it. So then Angada said, then you meet your death. Then he flew back. Successfully he came back. So then when he came back, Jambavan came to him. And they couldn't move your toe. Because he's seeing this forever. So then Angada said, how did you know that? I am Jambavan. I am there for a long time. They couldn't move your toe. That's Ravan. Then the monkey said, tell us the story. Jambavan said, I will tell you the story. Angada, you go to Ramachandra and tell him what happened. So Angada went there and he told him. Then Vibhishan told Ramachandra, now it's the time. We must attack. So Ramachandra said, wait for tomorrow morning. We'll take rest. So Vibhishan said that we have to protect Ram and Lakshmana. So he told Hanuman, you build a fort with your child and we will put Ram and Lakshmana inside so that we won't lose them. So they made a huge big fort. It had verandas, courtyards, it's got rooms and it's got 7 floors and it's got a tower on the top and it was all tiled. And Hanuman was on the other side. And Vibhishan and Hanuman, they were going this way and that way and this way and that way, guarding. But at one point, when Hanuman came this way, he saw Vibhishan. And Vibhishan said, I want to go in and check. So you be here. And you see that nobody comes over that side. And he went inside. And then Hanuman was standing, he did not come. So he said, let me take a quick flight and come back. So he flew across and he came back. And he saw Vibhishan outside. So he said, you went inside, when did you come back? I was in the door. He said, I never went inside. And then Hanuman said, something wrong. So they both went inside and they saw there was no Ram, there was no Lakshman. They were missing. And they checked everywhere, they couldn't find. And then all the monkeys were crying and sobbing except Jambavan, and he was hiding somewhere, he won't say anything. So then Vibhishan said that this must be the work of the Mahiravana, the brother of Ravan. He stays in the Netherlands, he's somewhere underneath. And it's a secret city, and it's a great Mayavi. Somehow or other, he has taken Ram and Lakshmana. So he said, Hanuman, only you can go there and get it. And I can tell you how to reach this place. So Hanuman decided to go and get Ram and Lakshmana. And how he went to Mahiravan city and what he did there, how they got rid of Mahiravan, and how they came back, we'll discuss tomorrow. Jai Ramachandra Bhagavan ki, Hanuman ki.